Today I will be discussing how I've taken inspiration from TV dramas in the real world and used a lot of their features in my own film. What I've used will also be discussed in terms of lighting, music, camera work, but also the plot and the personality of the characters, how they relate to each other, and how I'll be able to capture the audience's attention. Although I found this after thinking of the idea and the plot and the main storyline behind my film, I did find a short film by Anna Akana on YouTube named Hallucination. This really helped me, as there are a lot of things I personally could relate to and a lot of things that I wished to use in my film before even finding this short film on YouTube. I really liked how the main character was nervous and on edge the whole time. It created a dramatic effect, and I want to use this, so the main character in my film, who is my brother Dan, I decided to direct him to be very nervous, scared of. I believe that his personality in my film really exaggerates the loneliness he's having, and really how he's absolutely terrified due to the side effects of his drugs. It can be seen in Anna Akana's video as her main character is very twitchy and jumpy at anything that comes in front of her. I also really enjoyed the sound effects and music she used in her video, so I've gone for a similar background track, which is very slow, quiet, but it's there to create tension. It's not supposed to be the main focus. The main focus is actually the imagery. And sound effects are also very effective, as they give the audience a sense of how the actually main actor is feeling throughout the film, as if they're a real person. So I've gone with similar attributes in my film and used very jumpy, very much horror sound effects, particularly with one shot where my foot goes in the foreground of a shot. This comes out of the blue, will probably make the audience jump and make them relate to the main character. Another similar show in the sense that it's a drama, although it has a huge financial backing and is probably the most popular TV show of all time, Breaking Bad. This show used a lot of close-ups. When I watched it, a lot of pull focus, which I really liked, so I've decided to go with this, and pull focuses, as you can see from the film, I really enjoy it and I've used them a lot. They give the show a new dimension and another view for the audience to see the main character. This can also be backed up by the fact that I used in some shots multi-cameras with my friend's camera as well. But even though this was not available to me most of the time, I did use it on occasions, and it just gives another angle for the audience to see things, and it keeps the flow a lot better than the single camera, which unfortunately I had to use for the majority of my film. If you've watched Breaking Bad, you can also see that they use the tints in the lighting, so in a lot of it there's slightly green tint, but I've used this, but I've used a slightly dark blue tint to make it as though, in a sense, it's looking through the main character's eyes, the audience, and everything's very dim, everything's very dark, similar to what's going through the main character's head. Now we've discussed my inspirations for my film, I want to go more into what problems I had and how I combated these, and the differences between myself and big TV shows with huge financial backing. One problem I ran into was the weather. This meant that on some days I had to cancel filming and go another day, and as I left my filming quite late, some days I just had to go out and bear it and accept that the editing would be a lot more difficult. It's a really good example of how a huge show is a lot more different than a small production. A very simple problem to rectify, as financial backing would mean to get covers or anything like that, but instead I had to either bear it or completely cancel filming, which really halted my progress. As I touched on earlier, another problem I ran into was camera availability. So as it's just me at home filming with my brother on some occasions, other occasions it was with my friend who could bring us a camera, but sometimes there was only one camera. This was a bit of a problem, as it took a lot longer to film and I had to get the shots just right, and also try and do that while keeping the flow. I just had to be more smooth with my editing, which I am quite comfortable with, so this wasn't too much of a problem, but I would have liked to have more than one camera. Also, once or twice it happened where my main actor, my brother, just wasn't available and couldn't make it, so had to completely cancel and work on other things such as editing or just planning for what to shoot. So this wasn't too much of a problem, but when you think about big productions such as Breaking Bad, Walking Dead, any large TV dramas like that that are really popular, they have paid actors who would just have to turn up like a job. Unfortunately, like, I would not pay my brother, he's my brother, so I would just ask him to come out, but sometimes he couldn't. It sounds like I had a lot of problems, but I was able to overcome these quite easily. So in terms of the weather problem, where I just could not go out and film really, or had to and change lighting, to rectify this problem, all I did was wait for a day where the weather was decent, at least just cloudy, so that I can go out and film and not damage equipment or have the shot ruined. Overall, although I've made my own piece and I've chosen to specifically put my own spin on things, I have took a lot of inspiration from other TV dramas, specifically Breaking Bad, which is as the large TV drama, but also as the less known YouTube channel, Kana. I've also took inspiration from her in terms of the camera work, but mainly the audio, the sound effects and the music. So overall, even though it's difficult to follow these because I just don't have the backing financially and in terms of cast and crew, I've took some of their ways of doing things such as camera work and editing and implemented them to make a quality piece of work.